me wanna holler, go away. I need more peace and hope and love. Where do I find it in this crazy old world? I need strategies, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Every time I listen, Lauren and David share strategies for living, and it makes me aware. I got strategies for living, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living.
You know, we need them. Yeah, we need them. Some days we need them more than others. And this may be one of those days for me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, we've got some great life strategists for that.
Oh, man, do we have a couple of great life strategists today. Hey, folks, welcome. Welcome into Strategies for Living. I'm Dr. David McMillan. She is PLPC psychotherapist Lauren Leon McMillan. And I don't know how we let him sneak into the door.
Gotta keep an eye on me.
I opened it.
Oh, did you?
I did. I'll take that.
Yeah, our good friend, psychotherapist Gary Tiemann. And, man, you always bring the best guest to Strategies.
Somehow I got lucky, and I know a lot of real interesting people, including our guest today.
Yes, you do. Henry has been on before, so he's... but not quite as much as you have.
We'll work on that.
Yeah, we are working on that. But the thing with Henry is he's an expert in Edgar Cayce.
He's my go-to guy on Edgar Cayce.
And if you know, some people listening to us may know the name Edgar Cayce. Some may not. He's a fascinating individual. We'll get Henry to introduce us to him in a moment. But 80% of Edgar Cayce's readings were health-related. I did not realize that percentage until Henry mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's got a couple of talks coming up, and we'll talk about a lot today in terms of health and things that, it may sound kind of strange that a guy that lived a long time ago has something to say for our health and well-being and wellness today.
Yeah. And well, the information is so vast, and there are certain things about health, in spite of modern medicine, they're just the standard and basics of understanding health itself.
Absolutely. Lots to do today here on Strategies. Thank you for joining us, and we appreciate our sponsors who make it possible. The Robinson Film Center, Azalea Cleaners, Pintail Roofing, Learning RX, We Train Your Brain, the Balanced Life Wellness Center, Fertina's Delicatessen, home of The Godfather, Alligator Italian Sausage, pretty good Muffies too, SRT Sales Training, Uprising Addiction Center, and Mira Direct Primary Care. We've got a lot to talk about today with Henry Bieryla on Edgar Cayce. We'll be back. More strategies to come.
Facing the same old problems day to day makes you wanna holler, get away. Looking for the road that'll get me there. Looking for hope and peace to spare. Looking for strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio.
And welcome into your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living. Lauren Leon McMillan, Gary Tiemann, and David McMillan. Glad you are with us. I got probably before you introduce Henry, I need to give you your formal introduction.
That's right.
He's been doing therapy in this community since the year one.
I think it's been about that long. Yeah.
At least some days it probably feels like that, right?
My joints would tell me that.
Yeah, exactly. Gary Tiemann is he's one of the best. He is a licensed clinical social worker. I met him years ago, many years ago, when he was clinical director at Charter Forest. Some
Forest
people may
Hospital.
remember that.
Yeah.
He did his internship in Angola prison.
Yeah. The mental health team with Angola.
And we've been so blessed to have him as a private practice practitioner here in the Shreveport area. He's one of my go-to guys.
Well, you're
Gary
one of my
Tiemann.
go-to guys, so it's mutual. Thank you all.
Thank you. We're glad you're here. And now you always do bring wonderful life strategists. So introduce Henry to us.
Well, we're involved with Dr. Simq, who I think we're coming up on his anniversary of his death, that he was doing reincarnation research, and those of us connected to Dr. Simq just could not let that research go by the wayside. So Henry's one of us that is on the reincarnationinfo.com website that we're trying to keep alive. The research that Dr. Simq did on reincarnation,
Which was massive.
It was massive, and here again, we can't let that go to waste. And Henry has been a part of this from as long as I've been involved, and we have the bonus that he's also on the board of the Edgar Cayce Foundation.
Yes,
and the people. It's been interesting to me. The people that I'm involved with on the reincarnation research team has been connected to. There's a lot of Edgar Cayce connections.
I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that. So, Henry, welcome back to Strategies.
So happy to be here with you.
So, I always look forward to conversations about Edgar Cayce. I did not realize, Henry, that 80% of his readings were health involved. And so I want to go there in just a moment, but I want you to start by introducing. A lot of people that are listening to us may know and be familiar with, or think they know, who Edgar Cayce was. But give us a brief intro to Edgar Cayce, who he was, and why he's so important still today.
Well, Edgar was an amazing individual. He had a gift, if you will. And that gift was the ability to actually bring in information. He was like a radio receiver, bring in information from a multitude of various sources. And this came after an apparition when he was a young boy. Prior to that, he was basically an illiterate. He moved into Virginia Beach from Kentucky and started his work there. He gave 14,300 plus readings.
Wow.
And the bulk of them, amazing. Some 42,000 single space pages that he did in France. And basically, there was a moderator that would give the suggestion to him, put him under that discipline, if you will. And he would literally leave the body. The subconscious mind would move forward and would actually contact what was known as the Akashic, or what is known as the Akashic records. And that's a time stream where thoughts, deeds, actions are recorded. He was able to tap into that. Again, just like a good radio receiver, when you turn your radio dial certain channels, you're going to get certain different frequencies. And that's what Edgar was able to do, to tap in on that frequency of the universal consciousness, the Akashic record, the subconscious minds of those that might have passed that wanted to be helpful on the certain subjects that he was bringing forth, medical doctors, souls of that nature, and the subconscious mind of the individual that he was doing the reading for. So that individual could be anywhere on Earth. And as long as he knew the name and he knew the location of that individual, he was able to tap into the time stream and look at all of the functions of the body of that individual. And at that time, was able to do an analysis better than the most advanced X-ray equipment or testing medical equipment at that time. So he had a phenomenal ability.
And if you watched him, he became known as the sleeping prophet. So if you were lucky enough to be able to observe an Edgar Cayce reading, you might not have seen too much other than Edgar Cayce stretched out on a couch, right?
Yes, correct. And when he awoke, he would actually read what he brought forward, but could not remember anything from the reading itself. And different individuals tried to test him for his authentic information he was bringing through, actually physically touching him or doing a small manipulation on his body, and it would have no impact whatsoever as far as the information he was bringing forth. So he was in another dimension, if you will.
Yeah.
And that's how he obtained the title of being the father of holistic healing.
And of course, today, everybody seems to talk about holistic, healing holistically. And that's why it's so important for us to keep the work of Edgar Cayce in front of today's readers, listeners, and individuals, right?
And, I'd like to add, too, I think it's almost a calling that Henry is doing this for us. It goes beyond just having a choice. It's a matter of this is who we are and how we contribute.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Henry.
Well, most definitely. And the term holistic is mind, body, and spirit. It's everything working together. We're interconnected. And it's an integrated approach, if you will, again, addressing the mind, the body, and the spirit for overall health, all working in unison.
Edgar Cayce was big on balance, wasn't he? Balance was a big thing.
Yeah. Most definitely. That was a critical aspect. And again, the primary tool for balance was diet. And he recommended a diet that would be alkaline in nature, alkaline forming foods. And of course, reducing the intake of processed foods or acidic foods, if you will. So when you look at the alkaline, you're looking at fruits and vegetables and multicolored. He went into great detail about the colors that you should consume for different parts of the body for the uptake of the nutrients itself. And then he talked about the acid side. So he said 80% alkaline, 20% acid forming foods, processed foods, sugars, heavy meats, alcohol, tobacco, those things being detrimental to the body. You need that balance, but in our modern society, and if you really look at a label when you're at the store purchasing different things, a lot of chemicals there. Our diets now seem to be inverted, where it's 80% acid, 20% alkaline.
And that's because our modern supermarkets, are just full of processed food, aren't they?
And preservatives to make those processed foods last.
Yeah.
Most definitely. And if you take a look at the number of ingredients, when you have 30, 40 ingredients on a package, that's highly processed. It's really you're consuming chemicals versus natural food at that level.
I'm gonna poke Gary a little bit because I know what he ate for lunch. But
I was in a hurry.
but sometimes we have to be convenient, so we drive through the drive-through so that we can eat.
Yes.
But there's a story out there of I think it's not to pick on McDonald's, but I think it was a McDonald's product. I don't know which one it was, whether it was a hamburger or a quarter pounder and French fries, but somebody put it under a container, and a year later it looked the same.
Like a Twinkie.
Yeah. You can't just you can't destroy a Twinkie or I guess a hamburger.
And this is kind of an aside, but my wife and I and a couple of friends, we go to Costa Rica occasionally, a few times, and there they have a law against preservatives.
Really?
Yeah, and it's real different going in a grocery store there, where they have more freezer space, and the bread and that kind of stuff. You have to. It will go stale noticeably within a few days if you don't use it. And it helps give me a contrast about what we're doing with our food up here.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And by the way, they now have a longer lifespan in Costa Rica than what we do here.
Fascinating.
That says something.
Yeah. Maybe there's so much to learn, and we're learning a lot today from Henry Bieryla, our life strategist, specifically about Edgar Cayce and his work. He's reintroducing Edgar Cayce to all of us. We've got much more to learn about alkalinity and acidity, and he may even tell us a little bit about apples when we come back. That's today here on Strategies for Living with Henry and Gary and Lauren. Stay with us. Much more to come.
Tune in daily, find the light. Healthy mind and spirits bright. Strategies for living strong. Feel the vibe, it won't go wrong. Body moves and soul align. Catch the rhythm, feel the time. Radio rehab every day. Chase those clouds of gray away. Your daily dose of radio rehab. Lift you up when skies seem drab. Mind and body, spirits free. Living life in harmony.
And welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan, Gary Tiemann, David McMillan with our life strategist today, a guy that knows so much about Edgar Cayce, and we need to reorient, reacquaint, introduce for some people.
There's some great information out there that we need.
My goodness. Henry Bieryla is with us today. Okay, so I'm going to I poked at Gary. Now I'm going to rescue him. Okay?
I need it.
Yeah. All right. So Gary's like a lot of us. Sometimes you're on your way from point A to point B, and you got to eat. So you drive through a drive-through window. They're so convenient today.
Yeah.
Okay. So can we rescue Henry with some apples, perhaps?
Well, sure. Oh, absolutely. You can. And you take his car keys away from him, too, when he's hungry. Absolutely. Edgar talked about something called the apple diet. And that apple diet consisted of intermittently throughout the year consuming nothing but apples for a 3-day period. And that cleansing, if you will, in the system of the liver, of the bile duct, of the intestinal tract, the pectin in the apples would act as the intestinal broom, if you will. And you take nothing else during that 3-day period. I prefer to peel the apples, actually. And when Mr. Cayce did the reading, he referred to Jonathan apples. They basically equate to now what we have is Red Delicious.
Okay.
And then after the last meal of the apples on the 3rd day, or upon retiring of that evening, you would drink up to a half a cup of olive oil. This would cleanse the entire system. So basically, what you're doing in this process is, number one, the body is almost going into a fasting mode, if you will, because we use so much of our energy to go ahead and process food. So it's replicating a fasting mode. It's giving it one ingredient. And of course, now they're finding out so much about the microbiome, which Edgar talked about, but not actually quoting it as a microbiome, but he talked about the intestinal aspects, the gut-brain, if you will, correlation. And what's happened during that 3-day period is that the body is working to extract what is not helpful to the body, the toxins that are there, what the body can't use. And the pectin and the fibers pulling it out and moving it through the intestinal tract. Then the final cleanse comes through with the olive oil itself. So you're removing a lot of built-up debris, if you will,
Right.
over many years sometimes when you apply this formulation.
You know, one of the things that all of this points to, for me, Henry, is where health starts. And it, you know, we focus so much today on the external, the symptoms, all of the, you know, many of the prescriptions that we're familiar with.
Make the pharmaceutical companies rich.
They focus on the symptoms, but basically, Cayce said health begins with the body's internal environment, and that's quite a shift. From how health and medicine is practiced today, isn't it?
Well, to answer your question, the body is, of course, seeking balance, and it naturally will attune itself to the greatest health. So through diet nutrition, the proper combinations of foods, the selection of fresh foods, vegetables, things of that nature, a lot of diseases, if you will, a lot of illnesses are eliminated because the body wants to go through its natural state. Pharmaceuticals come in when the balance is totally offset in regard to acid alkaline, and the pharmaceutical is making the attempt. And of course, a lot of the pharmaceuticals are based on natural plants and natural ingredients, but they're reproduced in a lab, an environment, an artificial environment. So they come in and they are trying to cure the actual cause of the symptoms, if you will, but not the actual illness itself. So it's up to us to make those proper choices in selecting the foods and looking at. There's so much information available now. And again, Mr. Cayce was ahead of his time. That a lot of his information from 100 years ago is coming to light at this point in time as far as the accuracy of it. So it's available out there. You just have to do a little bit of research and pick and choose what you want to include in your daily regime.
Right. So am I getting this right, Henry, that if we go towards the balance and skew it towards the alkaline, then that alkaline environment is really kind of the body puts us into a place where the body can naturally heal itself. Am I getting that right?
Absolutely. And it's about now with processed foods and things of that nature, it's about inflammation also. It's a big consideration.
Yeah.
Very much so.
If somebody wants to begin to do some research, and we've piqued somebody's curiosity about Edgar Cayce, where would you tell people to begin? Where's the starting place? Is there a book? Is there a website? Or more than one where people can dive in and begin to learn more about Edgar Cayce? Because you can't come over to all of our house and talk to us, even though you'd probably like to.
Well, there's a number of books put out by the ARE, the Association for Research and Enlightenment, which was founded by Edgar Cayce. One in particular I like is called Nourishing the Body Temple. Simone Gabay is the author, available on Amazon, and she covers a multitude of aspects in that book, even talking about combinations of foods, such as milk with citrus fruits, or even coffee, not having milk or cream in coffee because it coats the intestinal tract, or large quantities of starch with a meat or a cheese, or multiple starches at one meal. So that would be one source. And also, too, on the Edgar Cayce members area, there is a complete listing of different afflictions, if you will, from psoriasis to gastric issues to heart issues, where if you are a member, which is a nominal fee to become a member, less than $10 a month, you could research the specific ailment, affliction, disease, and Mr. Cayce has given multitudes of information on every particular disease that's listed there or illness. So you could use the members website. You could use any books about or by Edgar Cayce on health and healing. Again, Cayce is spelled Cayce. Pretty easy to find on the internet. So there's probably some 20 to 30 books that are out there referencing his healing modalities.
And again, the organization that keeps Edgar Cayce's work alive is called ARE, right?
That's correct. The Association Research and Enlightenment, and out of Virginia Beach. That's where everything is archived.
And, it doesn't surprise me that you guys have continued to make the fees for Edgar Cayce's work nominal, because, my goodness, the wondrous work that Edgar Cayce did during his life, he should have been a multi-billionaire.
Yeah. He wasn't so interested in money. He was interested in helping.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we wish most people were like that.
Yeah, he actually would turn down different sources of revenue at different times, depending on the intention. And he talked about, even when we're consuming different foods, about the intention of what we're doing, the attitude that we have. For example, even we're talking about drive-throughs and things of that nature. Eating should be really in a quiet area, some conversation if necessary, but not to eat when you're angry or frustrated or under stress, because again, what you're taking into the body itself, into the gut microbiome, the enzymes that are there, the bacteria is there for breaking it down, is not in alignment for the greatest and highest good as far as digestion is concerned. Because the emotional factor, remember we talked about mind, body, and spirit,
Yes.
The emotional factor is coming into play. So that's something that you really, really want to be cognizant of. You want to be aware. And Cayce talked about digestion begins with the mouth, and proper chewing, if you will. Even taking water in, drinking water should be swished around in the mouth, if you will, to begin the digestive process, to help the body assimilate what is there. And again, everything is about assimilation and elimination. It's a matter of taking something in, the body using all those nutrients and the beneficial aspects of the food that you're ingesting, and then releasing what's not necessary or what's not helpful for the body. And that should happen in a short period of time. If you have a meal, within several hours, there should be some type of elimination that would occur after that meal.
Let's take a break. When we come back, Cayce had some ideas to help that along, too. We'll talk about that and more. Henry Bieryla is our life strategist today. Thanks to Gary Tiemann. And we've got more to share. We've got more to come. Stay right where you are here on Strategies for Living.
We all have problems every day. We all need help along the way. We need strategies, strategies, strategies for living radio.
We do need help along the way, as I just demonstrated to Gary and Lauren. Some of us, like me, need help more, depending on the day. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Gary Tiemann, Lauren Leon McMillan putting up with me, and Henry Bieryla, and just telling us and sharing with us his excessive knowledge of Edgar Cayce. And appreciate you doing that, Henry. You know, if you do get out of balance, there is a alkaline healing ability through was it called aquatic irrigation? Is that what it was called?
Well, yeah, it's basically done by practitioners around the country, and it's high caloric irrigation. So it's a machine that will go ahead and bring water into the body, into the colon itself, and multiple doses, if you will, and then there's a return on that, which is extracting any of the built-up matter that might be lining the colon itself. And Cayce recommended that, a high colonic irrigation, to be done several times a year. Actually, with the changing of seasons, it's probably the best cleansing that you could do. You feel almost, I'm going to use the term euphoric. You feel really light afterwards, as far as brain fog being cleared, things of that nature. You just have more mobility in doing that. But again, this is done by a healthcare practitioner,
Right.
that would specialize in high colonic irrigations.
Right. What can we do? What can, you know, when we go to the grocery store, when we live our lives, what did Edgar Cayce kind of encourage us to do day to day?
Well, he mentioned going ahead and hydrating the body, which is critical. And you heard of the 8 tumblers or 8 glasses of water a day. That came from Mr. Cayce. Or we have gel caps, and that they're for absorption into the body itself, the glands, the nutrients or the pharmaceutical or whatever it would be that would be there. He talked about adding Knox gelatin to salads, if you will, 100 years ago, because it stimulates the absorption of the minerals and the vitamins, if you will. It's about increasing the natural things, the fruits, the vegetables, the plant-based aspect, and reducing the excessive sugar, the heavy fats, as I said before, the acid-producing things in the body. It's about keeping that balance. And then, of course, you're going to be supporting your digestion. Your eliminations are going to be greater. You're going to develop whole body healthy habits. You really want to eat vegetables raw at noon, he recommended, almost every noonday, to go ahead and have salads. And then the vegetables, and you'll see this in a lot of the Cayce material. He talked about 3 vegetables growing above ground, 1 below, for the combination so they could interact with each other, to allow at least 4 or 5 hours between meals so the stomach would rest in that regard, because you don't want to burden the body. You don't want to keep on asking the body to be producing hormones and to be producing the gastric juices that are necessary to go ahead and to digest. But it's about keeping the balance in the body and making a list of what the alkaline foods are versus the acidic foods, and keeping that in mind when you're actually doing any type of eating, if you will. But those are the things that you want to look at what you're taking in, because the old adage that you are what you eat is very accurate. And if we could get back more into, even Casey talked about self-sufficiency and growing some of your own vegetables, eating vegetables and fruits that are locally grown is much more beneficial than importing them in that regard, because it's part of the energy or the vibration, if you will, the soils where you are.
Hmm.
So there's a lot to be said about as far as what you're taking that might be coming in from other countries,
Right.
and how it's processed and what might be there.
You know, this is fascinating in that now we're hearing so much lately about vibration, frequency, and the importance of it in our lives. And it sounds like Edgar Cayce was talking about this stuff way back when.
And along those lines, Henry, I wanted to touch on or emphasize again a little bit. We spoke about an attitude of gratitude, as they say in AA. And one of the things that, is a cornerstone of the work that I do with clients is about developing gratitude. We've had the tradition, even in traditional Christian circles, about saying grace before every meal.
Yeah.
And basically that's giving thanks.
Yeah.
That's an attitude of gratitude. And that permeates almost everything we know and understand about health.
And Gary, I agree so much with you. Yes, and it is about attitude. Going back into the biblical text, look at the Beatitudes, or the attitude to have. If you want friends, you must be friendly. If you want kindness, you must be kind. You're supporting the body temple in regards to what you're putting there. So it's a respect for the body itself. And as a matter of fact, Edgar did a reading which brought him away from the I shouldn't say away from, but diverted him from the holistic aspect when a reading was done. And this individual asked why he had questions, why there were so many problems with inflammation and improper function of the body. And he said, in a previous life, that you abused the body, and now you're reaping basically what occurred from that lifetime, which was a very interesting comment.
Yeah.
Sounds
So
like it. Yeah.
it really, really was. And that opened a whole new aspect of the Cayce material. But he talked about going ahead and keeping that positive attitude and not having the body be subjected to thoughts, because thoughts are things, negative thoughts. Thoughts are things, and they could create crimes or miracles. And a lot of that occurs with inflammation in the body, not just from taking in those substances that might be toxic, but also, too, your thought processes, your positive versus negative thought processes on things.
Right.
Henry, we learn so much every time that you come and be a part of Strategies. And we'll come back and wrap up this conversation with Henry Bieryla about Edgar Cayce. If you want to know more about Edgar Cayce, good place to start is edgarcayce.org, and that's CAYCE, and that's the ARE's website. We'll be back with Henry in just a moment. And welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Gary Tiemann, whenever you bring a guest like today, Henry Bieryla, the time just flies. I don't know what you do with time, but Lauren and I appreciate it.
Well, and I just want to say, as we've been talking about the role of gratefulness, how much I appreciate you providing this for us, and how grateful I am that we get to have Henry come and teach us about Edgar Cayce.
Absolutely. Henry, if people want to get more information from you, how can they reach you?
Well, there's two ways they could do that. They could call the ARE directly, 1-800-333-4666. 4499. They could email me at hgb1226@comcast.net. And if they have any questions, send them in, and we'll go ahead and try to help out as best as we can.
Well, thank you so much for the work that you do and for coming and sharing with us. And again, if you want to email Henry, hgb1226@comcast.net. Henry, I look forward to the next time that we get to visit and learn more from you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate talking with you.
And Gary, I don't
Come
know
on
how
back.
to. You can come
It's
back
been a while.
too.
I need to come back. Yeah.
Definitely, most definitely. Well, we probably have multiple programs we need to do.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that. Folks, thank you for being a part of Strategies for Living. We appreciate you, and we appreciate our sponsors who make it all possible: the Robinson Film Center, and Azalea Cleaners, and Pintail Roofing, and Learning RX. We train your brain. The Balanced Life Wellness Center, Fertitta's Delicatessen, home of The Godfather, Alligator Italian Sausage, and pretty good Muffies too. SRT Sales Training, Uprising Addiction Center, and Mira Direct Primary Care. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, who would you call? And what would you say? And why are you waiting? Make the call. For Henry Bieryla, for Gary Tiemann, for Lauren Leon McMillan, I'm David McMillan. See you next time right here on Strategies for Living.